It is game one, NA, year 3. Let's get hype in the chat. John, Vicky, do us justice and begin the year.
Thank you so much, my boy Rain Day. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, blow it up right now. Let us know which team you want to come out on top. We still got some TSM fans out there holding it down for the black and white, or do we have Team NRG fans who have been absolutely dominating? Dark Zero coming from down under. And of course, there's always Team Liquid, Tripods, Complexity, Furia. I mean, it is an absolute star-studded lobby right now. Oh, by the way, there's also Cloud9 and CLG that'll be competing today. It's going to be insane. This lobby is absolutely stacked, and guess what? We're kicking things off on Storm Point right away. Vicky, talk to me. What do you think we're going to expect here in game one?
I mean, we've been seeing, at least in scrims, a lot of contention on Storm Point, surprisingly. I believe we've been seeing G2 versus BR Demons, which has been getting pretty heated in scrims last night. And with BR Demons, I believe, taking it over G2. So G2 being another squad that has been trying to find their footing with a new pickup themselves. You know, just Gent leaving the roster and Chaotic Much getting picked up. I believe this team has been trying to find their footing altogether. But there's a lot of other changes throughout this NA lobby, Fallout, and I'm excited to see how it's going to work out for game number 1. Let's waste no time. Look at these drop spots.
Yeah, that's right. And then you take a look here. A couple changes from last season. First off, we had a contention. Lightning Rod, Prodigy Aces versus G2. G2 still dropping Lightning Rod, but Prodigy Aces saying, we want to contest here. TSM no longer dropping Antenna. They're dropping over towards the wall. And it's going to be a center zone here. Let's jump right into the action as we find ourselves an early fight. Oh my gosh. Furia plus Prodigy Aces as their third. Looks like his Watson is going to be actually subbed out today. Not able to compete. Not sure exactly why. I know he was moving recently, but Prodigy Aces as their third, off to a good start, and they're going to be teabagging off the rip against G2, saying, hey, Lightning Rod is ours.
It's a respect, it's a tactical crouch, all right, Follow? The Furia doing what they always do best, except they don't care even if it is on land. And what's nice to note, by the way, is there's a lot of early fighting already off the rip. I mean, everyone just got situated, everyone is just looting, but it looks like we are not slowing down for game number 1 here at NA, and I love already what we're seeing here. Furia already coming out with some great loot. You see the G7 in the hands of Zera as well as the EVA 8. So with some of our squads now just trying to figure out where they want to rotate, where this next circle is going to be pulling. It's nice to note that E8 actually is on the other side of Furia.
Yeah, E8 might be trying to stay sneaky. And 3-2-1-ing, yes they do. The early damage is going to be done. They're going to get a knock as well. Elevate says, hey, let's start things off strong with a huge push over Furia. They get a knock, and they will pick up this kill here in just a moment. A sneaky, sneaky play from Elevate. And keep in mind, these are strategies that have been rehearsed. Every team knows where other teams drop. E8 had this strategy as a trick in the bag, and they were waiting to pull out for Pro League, and Furia was not expecting it. I love the play and the confidence from E8 to do it against one of the best teams in Furia.
Oh my goodness, and I love seeing this from this team too, because just as we moved away from some of the other Apex Legends tournaments happening off season, Elevate just recently got in 6 at the Rewired Fest, and they were playing really well. Yes, they played out of the money, yes, they placed out of the money rather, but they still were able to bring in a lot of the momentum of what they've learned into the Pro League where it matters. And kind of forcing Furia already out of their own landing spot and playing at a disadvantage off the rip is definitely not in Furia's books, and they are zooming away. They want no business in that. They're gonna have to just reset when they can.
Yeah, so Panders gets taken out. Furia will be a team of 2. They're not going to be able to grab banners either. So nice job by E8. Damaging Furia quite a bit. Complexity find themselves on a rotate through Jurassic Park. But as things slow down here for a second, it's not just these 50-50s, the teabagging you saw. I know you guys see that in ranked every single day. There's a lot more at stake here and a lot more to talk about. Furia versus G2 at Lightning Rod. They are intentionally inting and getting aggressive and teabagging because it's a battle for real estate. It's early on in Pro League where teams are trying to secure and claim their drop spots. Well, guess what? Not everyone's going to bend over and say, take it, this is your drop spot at Lightning Rod. They're going to try and fight for it. So expect that G2 versus Furia fight to persist game over game. I don't think G2, especially knowing Designful and the boys, are going to give it up that easily. And also, the fact that Elevate took that fight on Furia is going to now be angry and expect them to int against Elevate if they win the fight against G2 as well. So that's going to be a story that we're going to see for the first 3 games here. Elevate, Furia, and G2 at the top right or northeast of the map in Lightning Rod for some contention.
Hey, Follow, you may have to just carry that energy into World's Edge. I mean, if you're going to grief us on Storm Point, then expect some griefing back when it comes to World's Edge. I mean, nobody gets to respect what's going on here when it comes to some of these drop POIs. Nice to note here, too, that with ESA in this lobby, Esports Arena, a name that we're so familiar with, they are going to be landing in Down Beast, and they are joined with Capra, who we didn't get to see in the Rewired Fest as well. So as we take a look at Complexity and their plan right now, they are running the Taser composition between the Newcastle and the Watson, so you could already see them bunkering down after they got the information of where this beacon is for the next circle. So it looks like we are going to have a barometer circle, and it actually may be a very similar circle to what we got to witness back in the EMEA region, kind of pulling a little bit towards the northwest side of barometer.
Yep, and just a couple of kind of notes on Complexity. Obviously, we're used to seeing Complexity originally with Reptar, and then they played with, Snipe Down for a little bit in qualifiers, didn't find success. They picked up Luxford. Again, the recipe for success seems to be find a demon controller player. That's what Luxford is for them. He's kind of a rookie on the scene. Played for a couple of teams, a few notable ones, mostly like, low tier ALGS teams, but has always been kind of a rising star. Getting picked up by Complexity is massive. The question is, how will he perform? And there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Can he help Complexity rise back to the heights that we saw them in as the best team in North America during the Bloodhound Season 5, Season 6 meta just about a year and a half, 2 years ago? We will see if Luxford is that it factor for them. So far, he's been looking good. They got second place in the Oversight playoffs. They got second or third place, I think it was, at the Rewired Festival. Complexity's been looking solid so far, but they got to take that energy into Pro League.
Love that pinpoint, too, because I got to see Complexity in person over there, and they're looking to try to continue this domination in the Pro League, while Dark Zero's holding this interesting choke point. We've seen them hold this choke point before, but I like this decision because it's very similar to kind of determining whether you want to take these 50-50 rotations for where this next circle is going to be pulling, especially if you are giving up the opportunity to have Beacon in your control, which is something that Dark Zero is going to be doing. They're just going to be holding onto the choke point, looking at some of the skyward dives. Oh, and the immediate beam, too, from Zero. Obviously, they're not going to fully send it because this is the choke point that they want to hold, but it's a nice determination just to show that they mean business out here, whether it be from the G7 or the flatline.
Yeah, Dark Zero. I mentioned it in the pre-show, but for those that are just tuning in, first off, welcome to the ALGS Pro League NA kickoff, North America. And you might see Dark Zero and be like, what? North America? Aren't they an APAC South team? And that's right. They made the move to Austin, Texas, sponsored by Dark Zero. Big shout out to Dark Zero for making that happen. Living in the States now, living their American dream and trying to play in a Pro League that's much more competitive than the APAC South region. Despite being in the APAC South, quote unquote, lesser competitive region, they still won the last 2 LAN championships. APAC South in Australia has been on top of the Apex world for the last 8 to 10 months, and Dark Zero is looking to keep it that way now that they're playing against the NA Pro League, Vicky.
Yeah, they've been playing so well. Now they have a huge lobby to deal with as well. Trying to see how they match this throughout the course of the Pro League here. Playing on the outskirts of where this circle is going to be. You can already note, by the way, that there are still so many teams taking up the real estate on the right side of Barometer. I do believe we have a Loba in the lobby too, so I'm wondering here how this is going to play out for Dark Zero just taking their time to loot before actually making their own appearance into Barometer.
That's right. Well, hey, we've talked a lot about Dark Zero. We've hyped them up quite a bit. Not a whole lot of action going on, but they are occupying quite a bit of land right now. Let's jump into a listen in and hear exactly what their comms are like, what the strategy is with the team nearby.
Put the blue light mag down there.
I got one.
I can use it.
I'm dropping 12 cells. And a stack of light for Sharky, I guess.
Light ammo here.
Yep.
Maybe drop Gen 20 and keep like that.
Light ammo here.
I have 3 beds.
I'm just gonna fence a
Some
bit more.
better fences, so.
Yeah, I know. I was just like so focused on other shit. I'm just gonna
I'm dropping 2 more cells.
I kind of like do a circle so people know we're here for the moment, but then I'll do.
Yeah, I'm like very low on ammo and shit. Is there heavy ammo down there?
Yeah.
Lucky? I might just grab that. Can someone watch the antenna side?
Yeah, I will in a second.
Extended light mag.
And I can grab that light mag too. Dub.
So I basically just called for that listening because I wanted to hear the Aussie accents. That's really, it just gets me excited hearing Australian accents in an NA broadcast, Vicky. But you heard one thing in particular, obviously a slower listening, but one thing in particular I want to talk about. It was Sharky on Watson who said, I'm just going to make a giant circle so people know we're here. That's an important concept, again, for aspiring Apex players. It's called being big. Sometimes in scenarios, you want the world to know where you are, and you basically want to say, don't mess with me. Don't you dare encroach in my territory. You want to claim a location. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you want to be really small. You don't want people to know you're there, and you don't want to draw attention to yourself. In this situation, given Dark Zero wants to maintain map control and wants to hold that choke point, that ridge, they wanted to be as big as possible. They wanted to make their presence known. That's why you heard that there from Sharky.
Yeah, sometimes we see the sneaky plays like what Sentinel does in choke points where they just jump on a squad that's in the middle of the rotation, or you'd like to make a big appearance with the Seer ult, letting teams know if there's a fight going on, or that they will absolutely know if you're trying to rotate in their direction or trying to third party, which is why the Seer is also so important as we get to take a look at Esports Arena. They are going to be rotating away from Mill, which is nice to note because there is a squad on the outskirts, as you can see right now, as Esports Arena are going to try to ping them at the same time as the Skyward Dive is going to be unleashed. They're going to have to start moving to the next circle soon because, again, they do have a bit of ground to traverse if they aren't going to use the Skyward Dive themselves, and they are just going to walk it in. I mean, the circle is right there. They don't want to call too much attention to themselves. I also don't believe they're all going to get contested to the choke point to their left. That would lead away from the open area between Jurassic Park into that choke point.
That's right. ESA is a team that had a lot of hype coming into Pro League. They dominated the qualifier or challenger circuit tier of lobbies. A lot of people thought they would take the energy right into pro tiers of lobbies, but it's a level above. And to be honest, not to be too critical of this team, but they've struggled a bit at that pro tier. I think at the 17th or 18th finished place in the Oversight playoffs, we saw them not perform necessarily as well on the second day or the championship finals day of the Rewired LAN tournament. Obviously, they didn't play with Capra there. So ESA obviously has to get used to this pace, has to get used to this bubble of pro tier Apex Legends in North America, and they're gonna have to elevate their gameplay to follow. I think another team that's in a similar boat is Tripods. They dominated challenger circuit for a while, obviously playing with Luda back then, but I was talking to Nick the other day and he said it's a whole different ball game. We have to pick a new drop spot, we have to pick a new play style, because in this tier of lobby, all that's already claimed. These drop spots are already claimed. It's tough to do. It's tough to really rank up from B tier to A tier, if you will, much like the major leagues to the minor leagues in baseball.
Especially with the way that all these teams are playing so differently. You see Dark Zero putting in extra pressure with the Arc Stars down below. You got the low ground. You're in a difficult situation as it's Furia that get caught in the middle of the rotation. It looks like you can see Jen being able to finish that off, as Jen is going to be able to also take care of Prodigy Aces. Dark Zero going to have now extra loot to work with from Furia. Thank you for delivering that on a silver platter. And they're going to be able to play on the outskirts of the circle without having too much fear to what's behind them, because they've been holding on to this choke point for so long, and you made note of it perfectly earlier, Fallout. They've made their presence known, and for teams that like to rotate through antenna like Cough Cough, TSM, they're going to be able to note that Dark Zero already situated there. There's probably a team already to that building south of Dark Zero that they keep pinging. I believe that is Elevate. So with other squads also playing on the outskirts of the circle, as Sharky is going to be able to find two breaks off of that, you can already see that Dark Zero have the positional advantage, not only from this high ground, but with their beamage as well.
That's right. I also love the way that Sharky's playing this, that Dark Zero's playing this. Sharky's basically responsible for making sure that no one pushes them from behind, and they have to do a really, really good job of just gatekeeping here and not letting anyone up this small, narrow strip of land. And Sharky's doing exactly that. That's why they have the G7 Scout in his name, but he's running low on ammo, only down to about 50 total bullets of light ammo with the G7 Scout. Going to get refreshed a little bit, but a little bit of shambles right now. So that refresh that they got on Furia, when we say refresh, we basically mean refreshing your materials or your resources by getting a couple kills and loot boxes, was good. It helped them, but they need another refresh. If they're going to make it to late game, they got to find themselves some loot along the way. But Dark Zero right now is really, really well positioned in game number 1.
I just saw that Sweet did just get knocked right now, so Energy looking to be in some trouble themselves, wondering what's happening on the other side. You can see that TSM right now is actually in the middle of the rotate. They had called where they wanted to rotate behind where Antenna was through Jurassic Park rather than try to face Dark Zero head on, which is a very smart decision from TSM. But now in this next circle, they're a little bit out in the open. Sometimes making an early rotate to this position exactly could be very detrimental and could act as a double-edged sword, because there's a lot of opening spots that they could get shot off from both angles.
Yeah, it's always such an interesting spot to be. It feels safe. You have a lot of cover. You can rat, but you're so exposed to nades. No Watson on the hands of TSM means they're not going to have a chance to defer any nades with the pylon. So got to be careful here. It is TSM, not the best position, but not a bad position certainly as well, as they're going to have their head in a swivel, and they're surrounded 360 degrees by a few different teams here. So looking a little scary for TSM, but in an overall decent spot. Running that exact cookie cutter comp I told you about. It's Seer, Valkyrie, and Horizon. Expect most teams to run this comp, especially on World's Edge in just a moment. And you mentioned in the pre-show, but for those that didn't hear or didn't understand, Raven, the coach of TSM, really wanted them to run Fuse on World's Edge and said, Hal, if I beat you in a 1v1, you have to run Fuse. They 1v1'd and he lost, safe to say. So they will not be running Fuse, they'll be running Seer on World's Edge.
That's always a nice little tidbit to add. Things getting settled with 1v1s as E8 are going to be on the other side of this building with TSM in their line of sight. You can see them getting pressured. But they note with the Seer that there is a squad on the other side of this building with a charge rifle in hand, which is a very important weapon to have on Stormpoint with so much open ground to work with, especially with the amount of Valkyries that we have in this lobby. So important when it comes to those Skyward Dive and adding in some of that extra pressure aside from just having the G7. But E8 are just going to be hanging out on the outskirts. They're not in this next circle, but they will be moving soon in a minute and 20 seconds.
Couple of things I want to call out here. Teams alive, 15 squads remaining. I believe the Tripods still in this, as well as their former teammate in Luda on MLP still in it as well. So we'll keep a close eye on the Tripods. They're actually right next to Complexity and Dark Zero right now. That'd be an interesting listen-in or a opportunity to catch the action of those three teams on the outskirts. But right now it's E8 having a difficult rotation at hand as well. Really interested to see how they play this as well, Vicky.
And see what EA is going to do. What's their decision here? They have less than a minute now on the clock as TSM get Rakinishu and a knock. It's going to Rack's team now as TSM are just going to continue on with their domination on this side of the map without giving up too much of the space. You remember that Dark Zero is to their backs if they decide to reveal themselves. Purple's out in the open, pushing a little bit too far as Rack Attack finally get deleted, but was it worth it with Furls being out in the open with another squad right across from them?
Love to see Hal back on keyboard and mouse. The day that man commits to controller is the day hell will freeze over, I think. As you see, reps long range, getting some shots in. It's going to be all up to the duo. Yeah, exactly. The final team of two for TSM as Verholst did get knocked. And that's what happens often with TSM. Verholst sometimes gets a little bit aggressive and finds himself in a bad position, ends up getting punished. And at the same time, my biggest criticism of TSM is let Verholst be Verholst. He had a chance to do exactly that with Kansas City Pioneers and Rewired and played so incredibly well with the MVP of that tournament, hands down. But keeping a close eye on TSM here. It's going to be a very tough rotation, and they lost their Valkyrie, so they're gonna have to do it by foot. Difficult rotation incoming for TSM. We'll keep you updated on how they fare as E8 also forced to rotate parallel with TSM.
Look, I know we got multi-view for some comms in, but I would love to be a fly on the wall for those comms as Mercy gets pinged and almost deleted, managing to get into some safe cover. But like you mentioned before, Verholst acted as the IGL for KCP when he stood in as a substitute for that team that ended up winning the Rewired Fest. And sometimes Verholst just needs to pop off in his own regards as EA is going to be able to also delete Capra, the last remaining member of Esports Arena. Luke was coming in from their 6th though. It's going to be TSM that knock out Mercy. They're taking too much circle damage at the same time though. That's going to be Reps, that's going to be Hal, and that's going to be TSM falling in 11th with E8 meeting them in 10th place.
That's right, E8 out of this lobby, TSM as well. The Tripods were able to successfully make their rotate. You see them rocking Watson, so Nick is on Watson, avoiding the Fuse, or sorry, the Seer that he's usually used to playing. Gent on Seer, and Deeds on Valkyrie. Team Tripods in their debut of ALGS Pro League. Nick Merckx trying to show he can bang with the best of them. Against all odds, he's found a way to make it every single tier of Apex Legends so far. Can he make it to the top tier, though? That is the question. Let's jump into a listen-in with the Tripods.
For our building our right, bro.
I'm trying
to see. If this fights, we can move up on this rock right here too.
I know. We just can't. We just can't walk up right here, can we? There's no way.
No, we'll have to climb up and play like the side of the building, and then we walk up with the storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, hurry.
I'm one bat right now, so I'm just saving.
It's
I don't have any bats.
So we don't get fucked. I have one bat, one cell, and a Phoenix. You have a Phoenix, right?
Yeah, I have a Phoenix. Yep.
Alright. If this building team next to us Valko, just let him go. Don't cancel it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cancel. That's on me.
You're okay. We got a kill out of that, I think.
Nah, we didn't.
Oh, we didn't. Okay.
I have my serial too. I'm
just gonna hug you, G.
Look over me.
Look, just shoot.
I'm seeing what's open.
The flame draws me this way.
He's gonna peek you. He's gonna peek you. Have to reload.
I have cover. I have cover.
We have to move up. You want us to move up?
I think you move up. Yeah,
Team
move up
right,
with me. Move up with
Valko,
me. Yeah, move up. Move up. Move up. Move up. Move up. Move up. Play on me. Play on me. You can have your gen, right? Put it right here.
The team on our left.
I don't have a gen. I don't have a gen. I don't have a gen.
All right.
I'm
Just
playing
stay
back on
okay
Nick right now.
then. ADS start
Safe
back.
on me.
Hide on
They're still
barrels
in the building.
looking
They're
at
still in the
them.
building. Yeah, I'm ulting.
They got a knock on this team.
All right, look at our building. Look at our back in our building. They have to fight and drop behind us.
You see
I'm
my
gonna
skin.
rotate
You see my skin.
I'm getting shot
Hey,
from my
wait,
left.
Wait. Just stay here.
Just
Stay
get
on me.
heals.
Stay on me. Yeah, I'm dropping to
Looking
cell.
at
That's all I
you,
got.
looking at you.
That's all I got for you to sell. That's it. Look out for a grenade. Two grenades. They missed.
They're
Get the
coming out of storm.
G. Get the G.
Yeah, get to me. They have to fight each other.
They're out of drop.
Looking over. Have a good
Oh,
arc.
I'm getting shot. Use my knock, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm coming with knock. Just sit on knock.
Right next to us, Nick. Yeah, use knock. Block that arc.
Blocking. They're peeking. Swing that.
Block dead. Yep, swing it. Climb up, Nick.
You got spots. You need it.
They're dead. One more. He's got a bat off.
Oh, no.
They get each other
Up
back.
to the right. Play on knock.
Yeah, play
Watch it.
Get on knock.
Yeah. Play.
Yep, just sit.
Another one. Kill him.
Nice.
Big kill.
Play knock again.
537. Yeah,
I got it. Hit it back. Just wait.
They're focused on each other. I think we get this reset. I'm gonna red.
Nobody's not.
Yep, good shit.
Yeah. I'm dropping the bat.
What a performance for the tripods. Finally, though, Nick's going to go down. Jet's going to have to use his knockdown shield. That's all they have. There's a whole team above them, but they will secure a top 4 finish. 4th place for the tripods and a good start for them in their ALGS debut.
And Team Liquid coming in to clean up everything else. By the way, with Nocturnal, not only having the Kraber in his hand, but playing the Loba, the only Loba in this lobby. And can we fan ourselves just a little bit while we flex on the competition? Because we got not only the heirloom, but we are in a top 3 finish. Now the black market coming out to delete the crypto drone at the same time. I saw BR Demons also popping off in the back. Nice to note here as Team Liquid are looking to get some makeshift cover inside of this crate. You can see the missile storm now flowing out behind this rock with the circle closing in behind Team Liquid's back.
Yeah, this is where Loba's so effective. Early game to loot fast and rotate early, and late game to steal all the death box loot and get all these shield swaps. They have like 3 or 4 shield swaps on the ground here. Team Liquid so well poised to win this game. They should be able to come out on top with it, to be honest. But the zone will be closing behind them, and they will lose those shield swaps pretty quickly. They're going to actually abandon it. Team to the right, they find them, immediately get some wingman shots in. Volt comes out for Sykes, the rookie on this team, and Team Liquid needs to get this wipe.
It's Team Liquid, CLG, Atlanta Premier now. 2 squads left as Team Liquid get taken out, and it's Atlanta Premier that stay on top with the best position that they can be in with 8 KP to their name. Atlanta Premier are looking to make the gap known.
AP over TL with the dub. Team Liquid secures 2nd, CLG 3rd, Tripods in 4th, but congratulations to the Atlanta Premier.